Good afternoon, dear students. Today, I explain and critically analyze John Keats' poem Ode to a Nightingale. The poem is romantic, lyrical, as well as picturesque poem. You find all romantic elements in this poem, and we can find lyrical elements also in this wonderful ode. The poet wrote this poem in the garden where he had heard the song of the nightingale. John Keats wrote this poem when he was in garden. At the time, he was completely ill also. He was in mental distress owing to his failure in love, his brother's death, and lack of confidence in himself. All these factors have made him to live in despair. Moreover, he was completely fed up with his life. So when he was in that critical situation, when he was in completely dismay, he heard the song of nightingale. The song of nightingale, its melodious voice, has lifted the poet from his deep, deep troubles. Then, at the time, he was suffering from consumption. In order to forget his personal problems, he was addicted to consumption also. Then, he was in all struggles and troubles. As I said earlier, he was in deep troubles. His fiancée rejected him, the sudden demise of his brother, and his a chronic illness. These three factors have ruined the life of our great poet John Keats. That is the reason we find some melancholy in his poetry. Not only that one, and we often come across some autobiographical elements also in his expressions. He was disappointed in the love affair. He was completely disappointed, and he was in a disgusted mood. A lyric should express the personal story of the poet. As this present poem, Ode to a Nightingale, is in the form of a lyric, it certainly expresses personal feelings and emotions of the poet. సో ఇంతకుముందు మీకు గతంలో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసిన విధంగానే ఇప్పుడు దీన్ని క్షుణ్ణంగా పరిశీలిస్తే బాగా వివరంగా తెలియజేసినట్లయితే జాన్ కీట్స్ పోయం ఓడ్ టు ఏ నైటింగేల్ ఈజ్ ద is completely a lyrical poem, and we find full imagination and complete full-fledged romantic elements. And the poet wrote this poem when he was in a complete and desperate mood, or you call it a disgusted mood. తన తీవ్ర బాధలో ఉన్నప్పుడు, తన యొక్క తోటలో ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒక నైటింగేల్ యొక్క పక్షి యొక్క గానం విని ఆ గానం వింటూ రాసినటువంటి పోయమే మనకున్నట్టు ఓడ్ టు ఏ నైటింగేల్. The heart of the poet aches. That means the poet's heart was completely wounded. It was in deep, deep pains, as it received, things which are not, which are not able to create a kind of pleasure in the heart of the poet. The poet is in melancholy, but he finds melodious music that may heal his wounded heart. Then, when he listens to the song of nightingale, he wants to drink wine so that he can sink into the river of forgetfulness. So you see, while listening to the song, he also wishes to drink wine so as to, sink in the river of forgetfulness. So మత్తు అన్నటువంటి తీసుకుని మర్చిపోయే విధంగా ఉన్నటువంటి నదిలో మునగాలనుకుంటాడు. It clearly indicates he wants to leave this physical world. He wants to leave this realistic world. He wants to move into an imaginative world where he finds much pleasure to his sad feelings. The nightingale is in the world of romance and idealism. You know, the bird nightingale is a symbol of freedom, symbol of ecstasy, symbol of joy. So it is enjoying its life very much, and the poet also wishes to move along with it so as to forget his own personal life. Then, being in the world of reality, So the poet, being in the world of humanity, he cannot avoid the problems he is facing. Where there are sorrows, in the realistic world, in the present world of John Keats, he finds sorrows coming to his life, not in singles but in bundles. He wants to share the pleasure of the nightingale. So he wants to move with the nightingale. He needs the association of nightingale. So nightingale, as I said earlier, is a symbol of joy, is a symbol of pleasure. ఆనందానికి చిహ్నమైనటువంటి పక్షి నైటింగేల్. తన వ్యక్తిగత జీవితంలో ఉన్నటువంటి సమస్యల్ని మర్చిపోయి ఆ పక్షితో పాటు విహరించి ఊహాత్మకమైనటువంటి ప్రపంచంలోకి వెళ్ళాలని భావిస్తారు ఎవరు? జాన్ కీట్స్. He wants a cup of wine from the southern France. It is heard that a pure wine is available in the southern part of France. Whoever takes it, he will forget everything and he will be in intoxication, forgetting the realistic world. So that wine the poet wants to take. John Keats wishes to take a wine available in southern France, which is known to create intoxication and which is known to give a pleasure in imagination. It makes him think of the great enjoyment of the villages in the southern France. So the southern France is known for its beauty. So natural beauty is there, green patches, rural environment, streams, flow of water. You see, in his imagination after drinking this wine, he would like to remember the beauty of southern France villages. So either in southern France, so natural beauty is there. So there he would like to dwell. There he would like to live. Then the villages are full of greenery and flowery scenes. So in southern part of France, what one can find is green patches and greenery everywhere, bunch of flowers emitting fragrance. So he finds a bunch of flowers as well as green patches. This natural beauty provides him much needed enjoyment. To whom? To the poet. Then when the poet says that nightingale never knows any sorrow, the poet feels that nightingale never knows any sorrow because it lives for joy. And moreover, one important point we can infer from these lines is that nightingale is extremely happy because it makes itself happy, and also through its melodious voice it makes the people also happy. And what we gather from what we understand from these lines is that one who makes life of others happy, he will also find happiness. That's what we understand from Nightingale's words or from the words of John Keats. But here in the world of reality, men sit and hear each other groan. In the realistic world, what happens? People sit together. People sit together and share their sorrows, share their concerns, share their sufferings, share their pains. That's what generally happens in the realistic world. In the realistic world, what we find people sitting together, sharing each other's concern and sharing each other's pain, sharing each other's troubles. That's what in realistic world happens. In the world of Nightingale, we don't find any sorrow, so we don't find any kind of sharing. But in the world of reality, we often come across these things. Then some of the old people become victims of paralysis. It's natural that the body decays. It's quite natural that when you are growing, automatically diseases also come along with you. Some generally old people also become victims of paralysis. They get different kinds of diseases. They are unable to move properly. So when they compare to their young age, they cannot move as easily as possible. They become the victims of innumerable diseases. That's what happens in everybody's life. Young men fade and die. A wonderful state. You see, this is a kind of autobiographical element we come across. Young men fade and die. That means beauty is temporary. It is not permanent. One day or the other, it fades. Keeping in his fiancée in his mind, he says to her, don't feel so proud of yourself. One day or the other, glamour, beauty will certainly fade away. Then you certainly become old. Don't feel proud of the beauty. It's a universal statement. One who feels proud of himself being very glamorous and beauty, the glamour and beauty one day or the other will certainly leave us. So what is the reality is, true love needs to be understood, needs to be appreciated. So instead of loving, instead of respecting, instead of giving, a kind of respect to the realities, people believe in these transitory things. So these things will certainly leave us. Beauty does not remain for a long period. So physical beauty will not remain for a long time. The beauty inside your heart will be permanent in everybody's life. The glamour which your heart has remains forever. But the beauty, the physical beauty, outer appearance will certainly leave us one day or the other. So, if you feel proud of yourself, being very young, being very active, being very glamorous, these things may be with you for a shorter period, but one day or the other, these things will leave you. Then you have to understand reality of life. Reality of life means the beauty of heart is more important than the physical beauty. So what lies inside your heart remains forever. So true love, without having any physical shape, it remains forever with you. But if you believe in physical things, there will be no meaning for true love. The people who fall in love suffer. And he says, this is also one kind of autobiographical element. He says, the people who fall in love will certainly suffer a lot. So life for them may not be bed of roses. It turns out to be bed of thorns also. So it's a universally accepted statement that so most of the people who fall in love will never be happy forever. They also come to suffering. The poet wishes to fly to the nightingale, of course, not on the chariot of Bacchus, but on the vehicle of imagination. You see, the poet wishes to travel. The poet, in his imagination, wishes to move along with the nightingale, because when he travels with the nightingale, he doesn't find any realistic things there. He finds only pleasurable things there, because the bird nightingale is born to create pleasure, is born to make others happy. In the same way, in the company of nightingale also, he forgets all his personal problems and he moves along with the bird in the world of imagination, where he finds only pleasure, only entertainment, no enemies, no troubles, no personal pains. That is the reason why he wishes to move along with the bird nightingale. Then he imagines that the bird lives in the thick forest. Even the moon rays cannot fall on the bird's home, and he believes that the bird nightingale lives in the thickest forest. So even rays of the moon cannot touch her. So he would like to go along with it, because he doesn't want himself to be seen by anybody else. He wants himself not to be visible to others. So it is possible only when he moves along with the bird nightingale. Then the nightingale is an immortal bird. The bird nightingale is not a bird. Is not a bird of death. It is an immortal bird. Here we need to understand that bird nightingale is immortal because it has given human beings immense joy, immense pleasure. So it is in the heart of the people. Nightingale may lose its physical shape, but it is mentally with the people. So when it is mentally with the people, it doesn't experience the death. It is an immortal bird. Its internal meaning is, since it has made generations after generations extremely happy with its melodious voice, it doesn't have any death at all. So even it is applicable to human beings also. If your deeds are good, if your deeds are for the noble cause, you may be physically away from this world, but still you continue to live in the minds of the people. That means you are an immortal human being. So here we can infer that meaning from the words of John Keats. It does not know anything about the human tragedy. The bird nightingale doesn't know about any tragedy, doesn't know about the suffering. It only knows entertainment. It only knows only pleasure. It is a symbol of freedom. The bird is a symbol of freedom. It moves here and there, making humanity feel happy. It has that capacity. Then it is a symbol of endless joy. It is a replica of endless joy. It symbolizes what? Joy. So if you want to know the taste of joy, just you can look at the bird nightingale. When you listen to that song, you forget about yourself and you immensely immerse in the voice of that nightingale, because it takes you to a different world and it provides you see, endless joy to your life. So bird here, nightingale, stands for endless joy. It stands for freedom. It stands for liberty. It stands for pleasure. The poet wishes to die upon the midnight hour. The poet wishes to die at midnight hour. So at midnight hour, he would like to die when the bird is singing. So he would like to leave this world listening to the song of nightingale. That is the wish of the poet. Here, the poet desires to leave this world while listening to the song of this nightingale. Even it means he would like to spend the last phase of his life in joy, in pleasure. So that is available only with the company of nightingale. The poet here thoroughly enjoys, completely enthralled, listening to the melodious voice of this bird. That's why he wishes to die. How? While listening to the song of this nightingale. Then he can go on hearing its eternal melody. He would like to continue to listen to that song. He wishes that he would like to listen to that song forever and ever and ever. Then the widowed truth also must have heard the same song. So even he brings some historical facts and biblical facts. Even widow also enjoyed this song, forgetting the loss of her husband. Then widows also felt extremely happy listening to this song, forgetting the pain caused by the death of her husband. Then the beautiful damsels captivated by magicians must have heard the same song. Again, he brings some references. The beautiful girls, the beautiful damsels captivated by magicians, in their intense struggle, in their intense suffering, they found solace in the voice of this beautiful word. Damsels captivated by magicians also found a kind of solace, a kind of respite, a kind of pleasure. How? Listening to this song. So widows, as widow truth, as well as beautiful damsels who are in the hands of the magicians, could not find any kind of freedom for their lives, at last received joy, relief. How? Listening to the song of this nightingale. It means nightingale is busy in making people happy. It made poet happy, it made damsels happy, it made other human beings also happy with her beautiful voice. The spell of the nightingale song cannot ring in the poet's ear for a long time. The bird continues to move. The bird continues to move. The poet, after getting himself released from the intoxication, he slowly comes to the realistic world. When he comes to the realistic world, automatically it doesn't find, the bird is singing again. The bird sings here, goes somewhere else, there it sings. But in his imagination, he enjoyed the voice of the nightingale. Slowly. Now he is coming to the realistic world and he understands that so far he enjoyed in imagination, not in the reality. Yes. He comes out to the world of imagination, to the world of reality. Then, thus this poem makes use of the picturesque and hear the sweet music. So throughout this poem, from first verse to the last poem, we can see beautiful descriptions of nature, as well as the melody of the bird, giving a reference to the world of reality. So this poem is a contrast between realistic world as well as imaginative world, reality in general, a poet's life in particular. So here, the poem clearly informs us the variation between imaginative world and realistic world, and it also informs us the personal suffering of the poet. Throughout this poem, we can appreciate really the greatness of John Keats in projecting or in depicting natural beauty and also projecting immortal things, and also putting before us his own personal elements. So or you may call it a autobiographical element. So this poem stands one of the greatest words in English literature. So John Keats is well appreciated all over the world for his talent in writing odes. This is about John Keats' poem Ode to a Nightingale. This explanation is related to critical appreciation of the poem Ode to a Nightingale. Thank you.